of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call roll.
Trustee Rayo?
Yes.
Trustee Bullard?
Yes.
Trustee Sutton?
Yes.
Thank you. And that brings us to the purpose of our special meeting, which we are reserving tentatively for hearings and notices. And we have a 5 p.m. date time certain here for hearing case BZC 25-004. So at this time, without objection, I would like to call the meeting to order. And the rules for this hearing will proceed without objection as follows. We'll begin with a brief presentation from the applicant, and that will be followed by those who would like to make comment in favor of providing testimony, those who would like to make comment in favor against providing commentary. We'll then close public session, and then we will proceed with any board questions, answers, discussions, and then proceed as the applicant requests. So, without further ado, we'd like to invite the applicant to come to the turn.
Interject just a little bit.
Yeah.
We've got a paper over there that shows that the meeting was properly advertised and all of that sort of stuff.
Great.
And
let me ask that question when the applicant gets the stand. So if you could come up, because we have the microphone there, that'd be great. And now that we've called the meeting to order, would like to confirm that this meeting was properly advertised vis-a-vis the fiscal officer.
It was.
Okay, and that would be on our website and our social media?
Correct.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Awesome, thank you. And please state your name, address, and begin your presentation.
Thank you. Zach Rodenbarger, 5645 Castle Creek Parkway Drive North, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46250. And I wanted to ask a question and also confirm that it is all right. One of my teammates who couldn't be here with a small team, but might need to have a couple of elements, all right if he's going to be on listening just in case there's any items that need to be addressed at the end of the meeting.
Yes, that's perfectly fine. If he would like to speak up, he should add his name and
sure, and
address for the record.
Would you like me to do that for him?
Please do at this time.
He is also on our in the exhibit. Joel Bruns, same address, 5645 Castle Creek Parkway Drive North, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46250.
Thank you.
Also on that exhibit as the applicant representatives. And this is relating to the site address 32 South 3Bs and K Road, Toledo, Ohio, from the zoning district, the NCD, to the PCD zoning district. We do have a couple exhibits, but this is the main one we like to show for the front building. I think some of you are familiar, but this is what we would have in the front of our office and retail section. And so in the Rye Commercial District, who we're presenting on behalf of, who would do the development, is a small bay warehouse developer, and this combines about 20 to 25% office with about 75 to 80% warehouse bays in the back. And so as one drives in, they see these type of renderings, and then warehouse units in the back, kind of outside of the public right-of-ways view. These are all for lease and only for commercial tenants. And so this is not necessarily self-storage where anyone, you or I, can just rent. It would be solely for a business purpose. Rise Commercial District has 15 developments throughout the Midwest, another couple in the works, and this would be our 18th. And so we see that a strong rental community actually leads to a very strong owner community. Tenants that join our facilities, they get kind of that extra initial help starting off sometimes, or going from their garage or a self-storage unit to our facilities. Then they own within the community or within a 5 to 20 minute drive from a lot of our facilities. So we actually see it's a pretty nice boost and boon to a strong rental community, leading to a strong owner community. So part of those amenities are 24/7 gated access to their warehouse units. We also have a shared kitchen, shared conference room if they need to host different people in there. And so some of that was included in the presentation. I'm happy to go over any of that as well in kind of the questions and things like that. But don't want to take too much time if you're all very familiar with this and kind of have reviewed beforehand. I know sometimes you all have seen it, and so you're very aware, and so maybe it doesn't make sense for me to dive too deep unless you have some questions. So I'll kind of let you all go from there and kick it off. Happy to.
Thank you, and I'll just kind of guide a couple of questions for my colleague. I had the pleasure of hearing this testimony at DCRPC a few months back, and so there was some feedback you had received. I understand also the zoning commission has approved this plan and had some feedback for you as well. I noted that you have, for example, included permitted uses because use codes has been an issue, the permitted uses previously from not your development but other developments in the area. Do you want to talk a little bit about the feedback from regional planning and the feedback from the zoning commission that you've incorporated to this application for the board's pleasure?
Sure. Yeah, and I think in the exhibit, if you kind of take a look, I don't know if it's helpful. I'm a visual person, but on let's see which page. Yeah, the very kind of first page, the development text lists those uses, and so these were the uses that we had thought about from the beginning. What the feedback was, can you make sure you don't allow anything outside of that? We want you to specifically list those. So the language was changed to specifically those uses, lessers of mini warehouse and self-storage, and going on down the line. So took that feedback and then also went a step further and said, hey, these uses would be expressly prohibited. This is not what happens normally at our facilities, so things like that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the other pieces were relating to a public nuisance, or if there's lights flashing or noises and things like that. So we added that to make sure that the public and anyone driving by would not be offended by anything happening there. We wouldn't think that happens, but at the same time, that was something that wanted to be ensured was possible. So. Is there anything specific that you were thinking about as well? I know there are a couple others.
No, just a summary of some feedback. I ended up for my colleagues' questions as well at this time.
Okay, I'd like to see the notes from the Regional Planning Commission. I didn't find them in here. Did I miss them somehow? There should be the meeting notes and all of that.
I didn't see them in our packet that we were provided. I got sent them. I don't know, typically they are, I don't think, did you see them in your, you did see the zoning commission minutes, right?
Oh, I saw, I got all that.
Yeah,
That's all fine.
yeah, okay.
It's just, I'd like to.
Is that typically included in the?
Typically that is.
Okay, and we can definitely do that. I have a copy of their preliminary or, let me see here, their initial approval or at least recommendation for approval.
Yeah, well, and
This is helpful.
typically we
These
have
were the comments in the back.
Yeah.
I had marked on them, but those 5 at the bottom of what they had suggested would be helpful. So I know it's a little small, but yeah, this is something we can definitely either submit after the fact or include. That's it.
Well, and usually we're provided a binder, but we were just provided like kind of a paper packet that you guys gave. So usually that binder includes all of pretty much the similar information that you provide to the zoning commission, the letter from fire, all of that information, and then basically just adds what zoning commission had. So the zoning commission saw the regional planning minutes.
They should have, yes.
They had those.
And I guess maybe there's some miscommunication too. I know there's been a little bit of a turnover. I think we sent in 13 packets. Were some of those not?
No, the packet, the
okay.
packets look like these.
Yeah, I think so.
So, yeah, no, we got those, but typically what's included in the packet includes all of the information that BZC gets. And in this case, it did not appear that stuff that the zoning commission got.
Okay, maybe there was some miscommunication.
But yeah, it's no big deal.
Yeah,
As long as,
understand
those
how-
are the meeting minutes from the regional planning. And I do think we should incorporate those into our exhibits as well.
And but there's a couple other things that need to be accomplished too. I appreciate that.
Yeah, sure thing.
I mean, I'm sure the information's there, and I'm sure it's.
Yeah, and if I can share something with Pip or the team, and
Well, I would like to print out, you have the regional planning maps?
Yeah, I do.
Mhm.
Would you like it?
Yeah. Did you get a chance to review them? Because we should probably incorporate these as an exhibit into our application.
Yeah, I turned it to the page, Trustee Rail, I turned it to the page where it was.
Thank you.
Of course.
Could I see what you provided? Because there was some feedback that, wasn't there feedback that we gave you?
at the very bottom on the second page, I think 5 bullet points.
It looks like it's the beginning of it, but it doesn't have the vote, doesn't have the other things that go along with it. There's usually quite a bit of notes.
Oh, okay.
And-
Yeah, and then maybe this was the preliminary one that was
This
prior.
was,
That
this
was
was
the
the one
agenda.
presented,
Yeah.
this was the one, this is the full notes. This,
That's the one I.
because I was there. And,
Yeah.
and Doug, we went through, and what we did was, staff had recommended 5 items. We ended up adding a 6th, and the 6th item was the use codes
Yes.
addition. Yeah.
And everything we've got up till now, what we explained, is all good information and all that sort of stuff. But what we're working with is the final file that everybody will be working with. So we need to have that in this file,
Sure.
and like the letter from the fire department.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't find the letter from the fire
Yes,
department.
that's
Didn't find
correct.
a letter from the electric company. Didn't find a letter from the gas company. And those things, which I'm sure you've got them all.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure they're somewhere, but they need to be in this file for this to be a complete file.
Okay. Yeah, I think what was the confusion is that we had submitted one packet to Pip and the team, and then this was the supplement, so it was supposed
Yes.
to be combined.
Correct, but
And
we
maybe
never
that
got
you
part
never
1.
got the combined, and so
Yeah.
everything is electronic in his file, and so maybe that is where it sounds like the disconnect, and we would have been happy to send that over if we had known the disconnect.
Understand.
Did you have something?
I was just gonna add that this sounds like it probably could be easily resolved by, we'll make sure we chat with staff and make sure that in the future, I don't know what the township's preference is to have the applicant resubmit. I'd say it's probably less common to have applicant resubmit things they've already submitted, but rather making sure that the trustees have everything that has already prior been submitted.
Yeah,
Makes
so,
perfect sense.
and that was when we did accept these documents 2 weeks ago. I think we kind of alluded to the fact that it's typical that we get the same binder that the zoning commission does. And then everything that you gave us is right, it was just that we should have gotten all the things that zoning commission did as well, which included these main meeting minutes. And I did want to call out, because I recall from this discussion now, because this is on 3Bs and K, we had discussion about maintenance of the road there, because we've been working through that maintenance agreement on 3Bs and K. And I believe that you all committed to roadway and ditch improvements associated with this development. We were talking about potential of the entry space and having a turn lane or something like that you guys would work with the county on and make certain that you were up to speed. Was there any progress there since that meeting? Because I know that was a few months
I think there are 2 things. The road had been paved,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so the road is in good shape. And the second point was our traffic study, which was submitted to Delaware County as well, recommended that there were no additional road improvements needed because it was going to cul-de-sac become a cul-de-sac based on the Sunbury Parkway.
So it's going to be on the north side of the cul-de-sac, so it will be cut off.
Yeah, if you want to have access to 20, you'd have to go down and go over to Four Winds.
Right.
And then get to 20, or to 36, 37.
Right.
It will have access to the north,
But not to the south.
not to the south.
Yeah, to the north.
So the Sunbury Parkway goes underneath
There's a
this
couple
development.
exhibits,
So
too.
you'll still be able to get to 36, 37 from here. But it's like just beneath.
Yeah, if you open up your packet real quick, there are a couple images that I think are helpful. Almost in the back of this first one, maybe the last 2 pages of that first packet.
I mean, it's not something that
in this one.
we're gonna have to
Oh,
deal
yeah.
with.
I guess they have either one of the both are the same.
This is something you're gonna have to deal with.
Two pages back in that packet.
In this packet?
Yes, sir. And this is where the difference, I guess, it is. And I can here's the exhibits. So if you go, this page is Sunbury Parkway, this green, and then it zooms in on the next one. If you turn the page.
It will be,
And so you'll see, kind of here's our location, and this will be a cul-de-sac, but going north should still be accessible.
so you see, like, it's basically the last property before it stubs.
Well,
before it
there's
gets
a
cut.
stub here, but
Yeah.
it's supposed to stop there.
No,
That's the way it's been explained to me by ODOT.
no, the green is the Sunbury Parkway.
This is Sunbury Parkway.
Yeah, this is, and it will stub right there, not up.
And you've got different information than I, but what I've got, the information that I was given, was it was gonna end here, cul-de-sac here, and this road would only have access to a new road to be built over the 4 lanes. And then all the people along here, which the apartment complex and everything else, would get to 36, 37 by going across the new road and up to 4 lanes out at the traffic light. Was the access that I was told and talked about.
I believe you.
Well,
I've never, when this was presented, we talked with the county. I've also talked with the engineer, and that has never been discussed. Have you heard this?
I haven't heard that, but at the same time, maybe there's a
that would
new
be
phase, or
substantive.
yeah,
That would
that would be.
substantive for your traffic flow,
That
right?
would, and that was not considered by our traffic engineer, so I don't know if that, I would assume he knows some as well, but at the same time, that's something we can definitely take a look at and ensure that we all have the same information.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and that makes sense, but this also makes sense because what they're trying to do is cut down on the access points. ODOT's trying to cut down on access points to 36, 37, and that was the reason for cul-de-sacing here and making the access to 4 lanes, which would allow you to go down and get on the 36, 37 to the south or onto Sunbury Parkway, or if you wanted to get onto 36 or get onto 37, you just go north on 4 lanes drive and get out at the light. That was what I was told, and that's what we've been working with for a long time.
I will make a note of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which makes your access to your property a little bit different, because people would turn in at the traffic light at 4 lanes, come down, go across the new road.
That's right.
Up into the, and it's the kind of thing you get off, you look at that, and you say, hey, there it is, but it can't get there.
Yeah.
And so you might want to think about that.
And I'm sure they would,
If
they like a traffic light, but at the same time,
I
they can't, it's
understand.
hard to get to.
understand what you're saying, if you're right, then what I'm saying doesn't hold water.
Right,
One-
yeah.
One way or the other.
I'm trying to look back at these meeting minutes because I know it did not come up at the RPC meeting. The initial stub that we both agree on was happening
Sure.
came up, and I'm
Because
trying to read through.
3Bs and a K isn't gonna tie to Sunbury Parkway. It's gonna be a.
Locked
road
out.
And then get to
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but you're saying it's not even going to be tied.
To 36, 37.
To 36, 37.
36, 37.
Yeah, and that's news to me.
And 37 is, actually Sunbury Parkway is gonna be 37.
37, yeah.
Or 36, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's my fault. That was the way it's all been explained to me.
Yeah, I don't have anything
I know.
to supplement that.
But that's the reason why it's so important to get the whole package.
I can tell you right now, the packet doesn't include anything like that because the only people that would have talked about that was RPC, and they never. We spoke about drainage issues on 3Bs and K. We always talked about the access to the building coming from 36, 37 down 3Bs and K.
And what they're trying to cut off is the left turns to, which would be the way to get to it. And there's a kind of there was talk about a right turn, right in, or right out.
Right in, right out. I did hear about that.
Okay, from 36, 37,
Mhm.
but not a left turn. So
Mhm.
the only way you can get there is.
I did hear about that. Okay.
They are currently not, from our understanding, not prohibiting the left in, but you're saying that's potential for the future? But that is not current.
Currently, you can turn left from 36, 37 onto 3Bs and K. They are talking about cutting that off and then creating the J cut, like how they have it on the north 3Bs and K side. Right now, you can't turn left out of north 3Bs and K, but you can turn left onto south 3Bs and K. And so they were going to J cut both of those and make it so that you cannot turn left from 3Bs and K, but you would turn right and then you could flip around. Or they said that what they were looking at was you could turn right only onto 36, 37, and then they were going to try to send you up through Four Winds. But I have not heard what Trustee Bullard is saying, so that I think that, that would be important for you all, I think from a business perspective. I'm trying to discern, though, Trustee Bullard, if that makes a difference to our decision from a zoning perspective.
It doesn't, but it's something that
It's important.
access does.
Absolutely.
But the fire chief letter and the other letters, those do make it.
Yes, I agree with that. Administrator Hale, do you happen to have an extra copy of the binder that was provided to zoning commission? Okay. Because that has all the information Trustee Bullard is asking for, and I'm wondering if we couldn't, if nothing else, accept that as an exhibit. See if
I
it's-
have a number of the other exhibits printed, and I know I've been looking at the township's
Do you
online.
happen to have a copy?
Here's the fire exhibit from the
Yeah.
fire chief. And then the second exhibit you referenced was
We would need,
the
it's just,
waterfall.
we need it all, we just need the
Yeah,
whole.
no, I have,
Okay.
I don't have the entire packet, I probably
You
have.
provided 13 copies though, to us?
Yeah, twice, and the initial 13, and then the second time was to replace, and so
Yeah, so
I
we
thought you
all
would
have
have,
the
you,
replacement packets, which is great.
but should have also the
But we
initial
should have all
13.
this stuff, which, includes
Yeah.
this. And as Trustee Bullard mentioned, these are final approvals,
That's
that we're in a one-step process, so it's not just, hey, preliminarily, and then we can get it together and bring it back in 6 months. This is, you got the go-ahead.
Absolutely.
So we want to make certain we have all of our ducks in a row. Outside of the documents we don't have, are there questions that we do want to talk about? Are there? Are there any questions about the project as based on the information that you gentlemen have that you wanted to ask, or questions or concerns beyond just making certain we have the documents in order?
Looks like it. If that's the original, yeah.
I have fire, I have Delco, I have.
Did you provide a binder? Because you're supposed to provide a binder.
That was also not entirely clear, so we provided this as an option, and I understand that perhaps a 3-ring binder needs to be explicitly stated.
To be honest, I've never seen documents kind of presented like this, but it's not to say we can't work with it.
Sure.
But you should have provided a 3-ring binder and the electronic version, which I see we do have the electronic version.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I saw initially. believe, Jen, I think this is all the information that the zoning commission considered.
Trustee Rail, do you see because I have copies, do you see
AEP.
a Delco, an AEP, a Columbia
Yeah.
Gas, Delaware County
I
Regional
have
Sewer?
Delco flow report, I
Yeah,
got
you got it
AEP, I have Regional sewer, Berlin Township fire. So this is messy, but the binder S situation. Do you want to take a few minutes to review this? And in the meantime, do you have any questions
I
that
just
you'd like
wanted
to
to,
ask the applicant?
sure, I wanted to ask,
Keep it all.
reading in the minutes, there was discussion about lights inside the buildings. And I have driven past frequently, leaving the location in Orange Township. What was determined with that?
Yeah, in the packet there was, I think our addition, we can read it on, I think section 22, if you flip to that we had sound exceeding a weighted average of 75 decibels over 1 hour, and lighting that is unreasonably bright and or flashing and facing outward from the site are prohibited. So we did include that as well. Yes.
There was a conversation about parking spaces. Could you summarize that for my colleagues?
Sure, and I think also if it's helpful to reference, I know that is listed in here on section 17 in the parking, so 119 spaces. Through the calculation, 1 per 300, that's about 52 spaces per office. While the code requires only, one space per employed person, technically we have 1 employee, and so per code that is, complies. In addition, we do have 67 additional spaces that we find this average 120 spaces per so many square feet is more than adequate. But since there wasn't a specific code metric, we'd be happy to talk through that. There's per self-storage you have so many, or there's per office, and so we can break that down further. But yeah, 119 spaces with 6 ADA compliant.
And I saw that you had a couple divergences still. Do you want to chat about, that's kind of the big question, I think, in general for board's considerations, because, our code is our code. So,
yeah.
Do you want to chat through those divergences for ourselves as well?
Yeah, one of those divergences is the acreage. From 10 acres, we have 8.86 acres. And while that, we still maintain the green space, we actually increased the green space. Part of that divergence was originally when presented, the calculation kind of included some of the electrical wire easement that we are not going to be in our parcel. And so there was a bit of a miscommunication on our end, included that, and it was 10.26, and so we thought we were good. The good thing is, though, the green space went from 25% to 35%, and so that was actually a boost to the green space, but that is one of the requests for divergence. Additionally, with that easement along the northern edge, we have parking spaces close to that easement. Obviously, the intent to not have parking spaces too close to a parcel boundary or a parcel border is to prevent someone else from building, but no one will be building in that easement. And so that was another requested divergence. The third divergence was one of our buildings, in the way we calculate it, is quite long on the far west side. And so I think if I look here at section 6, the way it's calculated is the height plus the depth of the building. And so our building 41, if you're looking at that red section, is quite long. And so the requirement would be 128 feet on the western border, and we were asking for a divergence from that. especially with Sunbury Parkway coming in, there's not going to be any residential. We're actually 122 feet, so really 6 feet different, but mostly because that building is so long is why it's actually 128 feet off of the border. So that is why we thought that was a reasonable request. So.
Okay, so we have 3 divergences before us. Trustee Sutton, did you have any further questions?
I do not.
Okay, Trustee Bullard, you had the chance to glance through the information provided by the zoning commission, which I think has all the information you had requested be included. Did you have any questions for the applicant at this time?
The businesses that you're gonna put in there, or see going in there, are they gonna be, how can I call it, a lot of traffic going in? I mean, like, would you put in say a computer store, repair shop and sales there, and have people coming in and out all the time? And that, to me, that brings a little different as far as parking and some of that sort of stuff, versus if you had a computer warehouse where you delivered it to a whole bunch of places and everybody else sold it.
Sure.
Okay, so, and we got a development on 23, somewhat similar to this, but not quite the same. It's much smaller, much totally different. Ended up with a search in there. And when you see those kind of, what I'm trying to get a handle on is, or feeling for, is how much traffic you're going to be bringing in, and there's going to be a lot of people for short periods of time. Do you expect like a bank in there, or an insurance office, or any of that sort of stuff, or is it going to be somebody with say a landscape business where they've got their equipment there and all of that, and maybe they've got an office to do some building and some working on it, but not expecting a lot of customers to come in and out?
Yeah, good question. In general, we don't see high traffic counts relative to other retail centers. And so if you think about it in that way, we're far fewer traffic counts than those. Kind of supporting that is the 20% of the retail office services in the front. 80% is more the warehouse type that kind of has those fewer counts, those landscapers coming in maybe in the morning, not even during those peak hours. They're coming in before peak hours so they can be on the job site, or they're getting some deliveries here and there, and they may only come to the actual facility once a week, a couple times a month. And so people aren't necessarily coming every day in the warehouses. And so some of them are even for multi-state use, right? And so they have one here, they have one in Indianapolis, and maybe somewhere else. And so you see differences. Obviously, I don't know who all will come to this facility and do those things, but in general, we don't see too high of traffic counts, and even have gate counters and things like that where we monitor and watch those things.
So do you see a lot of in and out with truck traffic and that sort of thing?
Much more box trucks and things like that than a semi truck. We do have the semi truck turning radiuses in those exhibits to make sure that they can get in and out. But we do see much more of the box truck or delivery truck, FedEx, things like that, versus semi truck.
That's stated in here in the plan?
I don't know that it's explicitly stated, and what would you, by stated, what kind of statement would you, are you?
Well, it makes a difference as far as the way you look at it, in terms of layout for the road and being able to get, say, make an 18-wheeler turn around on your property, rather than park on the street and unload on the street, those kind of things.
Oh,
so
the turning exhibits have fire truck, semi truck, everything in there to show that they can get through.
And that kind of needs to go together. And if you've got a lot of, I don't know, if you're going to have auto repair or boat repair or any of that sort of stuff going on there, you need a lot of storage space for those vehicles. And I'm expecting that would be behind the fence, not in front of the fence, that sort of stuff. And am I understanding correctly? And I want to make sure that it's in here that way, because I don't want it 5 years from now, and I have a whole bunch of stuff parked out front that's, we're working on that. Sure. Well, it should be out of sight.
That's correct. At all of our sites, anything like that would be behind the gate, out of sight. and per the code, right? We
So
would
maybe we
make,
say something to the effect of, for our conditional use, maybe we say something to the effect of, all loading and, storage and stoppage of, trucks, box, semi, or otherwise shall take place on the parcel property directly so as to not inhibit the traffic on either 3Bs and K or the entry to the facility. Because
we have no problem with that.
And that's good, okay.
They would not, we would not want them out.
I know, and I know you wouldn't, but like the reality is, we have a situation like this, I'm sure you're aware of, and there's other businesses that are upset with a truck stopping in front of their business and spending 20 minutes loading and unloading and, doing those things. So all we're saying is that is expressly prohibited, which I know you wouldn't want to have on your property either.
That seems reasonable for us.
Okay, so that's one
especially with
condition. Is that
our
good?
kind of layout.
And what I wanna make sure is that's stated in here.
And we're gonna put it in our
Okay.
resolution that we approve.
And the reason for that is property changes hands, everybody forgets.
Absolutely.
Right now, we're thinking that there isn't a whole lot of traffic out front, there's gonna be a lot going on in the back. But if you can't rent it, you can't have problems, then suddenly they may change things. But if the plan calls for how it's gonna operate, then we got a leg to stand on as far as keeping it operating that way.
All good, that's a good point. Yeah, it makes
Those are the kind of
sense.
things that I wanted to see put in there.
Is the noise resolution, adherence in the application?
In general, what we talked about at the planning
Like, is it
commission.
expressly put into that no trucks or noise will take place in compliance with our noise resolution for the township? 10 p.m. we have a noise resolution for our township.
And that is not, section 22 has what we have for the noise. And so for the
What
noise,
does it say?
that is sound exceeding a weighted average of 75 decibels over 1 hour is prohibited.
Can we add, I want it to be very clear about the 10 p.m. and our township noise resolution.
Trustee Rail, just as an aside, the township's ability to enforce the noise resolution is only with respect to noise generated on residential property or liquor license property. That being said, if there's anything out of your noise resolution that you would like to impose, so I wouldn't make reference to the noise resolution because the noise resolution isn't going to control, because this isn't a residential property. Okay. But if there are terms out of your noise resolution that the applicant can reasonably comply with and you want to include as part of the zoning, I would specifically call, we can write those in specifically, but I just want to clarify that the noise resolution won't apply.
That is fair.
I've got a decent understanding of what the buildings look like and what the layout is and that sort of stuff, but I need to compare that with what your plan is for operating. And so when people ask me later on, why did you vote for that? I can say, well, this is the businesses that we were talking about putting in there. And it would make sense at that point. Maybe if businesses don't work out quite that way, things end up changing and going different ways. And people buy and sell stuff and all that sort of thing. So if it isn't, I don't have any other thing other than my memory of what you said, and that doesn't stand up very well in court.
Well, but you saw the use codes, right? That were expressly permitted and prohibited.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that addresses what you were saying.
I want to make sure that it's what I'm voting on, and I want the plan to be completed. But I want to make sure that what I'm voting on is consistent with what the plan is.
I guess so the use codes, what they said, they have that, what is it?
Sure.
Where is
I
know. A complete thing.
It's on
This
the,
is on.
third page of that packet.
So I guess, to your point, because I think that this is where we need to go next in the discussion. What is or is not on these use codes that you would want to see differently because they have examples of uses expressly prohibited, which,
And I know they,
and then they have what is and what only is.
Mhm.
And one of the things I had a question of was the boat dealers. Why was that expressly prohibited? Do you know?
In general, we don't deal with boats, and our storage facilities aren't that big, right, for boat traffic.
Okay.
But that's just one thing that, we also saw someone, maybe someone else wants to do that on a different property, but that's just not something we do at our facilities in general.
Okay.
That there's not going to be a bunch of
Well, because there's
boat
just a-
storage
yeah.
outside that you'll see a row of boats or things like that.
Okay, got it.
and these are what I would say is longer term people coming in, come in, stay an hour, do that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
It's totally different to being a Tim Hortons or Starbucks, where you've got a lot of people coming in and a lot of people going out all at the same time, for quite a period of time. And that's the thing that I really wanted to make sure of, and I understand. Because if the access to 23 is, or 36, 37 is like I think it is, there's gonna be a lot of congestion, let me put it that way.
And I think part of that is addressed if traffic is the concern through our traffic study, through our other facilities, and through the traffic study that should be in the packet, that it is maybe a little more office and retail focused and a little more commercial and retail focused that maybe you're thinking of. If that makes sense, where it's maybe professional services or, if you had a CPA, right, versus someone coming in for quick service or some type of food, retail, things like that.
In any business, there's gonna be people come up for 5 minutes, but there's also gonna be people that, if the business is based on that kind of a volume, that's a little different way of looking at it. And like a full-service restaurant, I take that as being a sit-down kind of restaurant, where somebody come in, sit down, and do their thing.
Sure.
Which is
Well, we don't, right, that's one of the prohibited, right?
And all I'm trying to do is just avoid a big mess in the future, so all I'm looking at.
Yeah, I guess I completely agree with your intent.
Mhm.
I guess for me, when I see something like full-service restaurants or examples of expressly prohibited uses,
Sure.
that doesn't concern me now. I feel
Sure.
that, and we did push you guys a little bit on this in regional planning,
Mhm.
because this happened in Orange, and I believe the Orange zoning inspector there had called it out as make sure that they are clear about their uses, because you will end up in the exact situation that you're saying.
Right.
You have a restaurant with a storage facility,
Mhm.
and then you won't have any ability to understand and legislate. But that's why I think it's important that anything that you want expressly prohibited gets on this list,
Mhm.
and anything that you want to expressly see gets put on this
is the
list.
list that's the important list.
Yeah.
Okay, and most of these are slower or lower volume traffic kind of.
And just to note that that he's referring to are the uses that you have listed.
Okay. Thanks.
I like the concept, I like the idea, and I think we'll get there what you want to get to, but I just want to make sure it's documented in a way that we can all live with it.
Well, I respect that. I don't think you're being contentious or anything like that. I understand the reason for the question or the push. Absolutely.
And the comments I'm making and the comments you're making, they're nice, but they gotta be in here for them to hold it in water. In the plan.
Were there any uses, Trustee Sutton or Trustee Buller, that you would like to see explicitly added to section 17.03? Like, was there anything when you were looking at it that you were like, it would be nice if we had, and for the applicant's consideration to add? And then by contrast, is there anything that you would like to see expressly prohibited in this document?
The prohibited part that's nice, but that really isn't what we're approving. Because what we're saying is you're not gonna run those kind of businesses, which is fine, but we're limiting it to the businesses that they are going to run. That's the part this is the important part. This is nice information, but that's the important part.
Okay, so is there any changes?
I'm good with it listed.
Does that make sense?
Listed in the BBC.
Does it make sense what I'm trying to do? Or?
It does absolutely make sense what you're trying to do. I think the challenge that I'm having is converting what you're saying into what you want to see in the application.
Mhm.
Because what you're saying, I feel like appears in the application, but then you're saying it needs to appear in the text. So I would like to hear more about what would you like to see written in, maybe this is the applicant's question too. What is here that you don't see that you want to see? Because everything you are saying, I agree with.
Yep. I'm struggling with
Okay. Okay.
it.
So.
I'm struggling with the definition. So.
Okay. And that's fair. That's fair. I think when you say, you know, we don't want to see a restaurant come in that kind of traffic. Okay. Well, they've addressed this in writing in the text.
Sure.
I think that the traffic and where the truck stop is important, so we have that in the resolution. That will become part of this. I think that if there's anything else that you're saying you want to see, then we need to get it in there. But we have the letters because I had seen these letters before, that's how I knew they existed. And I apologize that I didn't realize that you guys didn't get the initial packet either. But I'm not sure what they need to do more that they haven't done to address what you're saying.
And what I was operating on is this is the application and the plan that we're to vote on. Okay, and this would be the file that we would work with, even though all that other stuff is there and nice, but it needs to be in here for it to be a part of the plan.
So agreed. So this is the initial file that has everything that you have requested, that we have not accepted, but we will accept it tonight.
Okay.
Now, is there anything then that you did not see in this that you would want to see in the final file that we accept? Because I did, and I don't know if you got to see it, if you would like to look through it briefly, but at the end is where all the letters are. I'm trying to keep it up. It's a very messy conglomeration. I appreciated you calling out that divergence request of the acreage because I did not see the 8 acres until the most recent submission. And then you have the total property acreage is 10.28. But they called out the easement aspect. That's why it's 8 point. So it's developable acres versus your actual acres. Is that true?
I guess there are 5 parcels that were on the front of this, and one of those parcels is being split, and the split was incorrect.
Got it.
And so, out of those 5 parcels, the original calculation of the split was 10.28. Now the calculation is 8.86.
Got it.
Because it wasn't just taking the 4 parcels from the GIS and saying here's the acreage. It was a split that was incorrect and calculated incorrectly.
Okay. Do we know which parcel that was? Because when I looked on the auditor site, I did not see what you're describing.
I can show you on the image as well.
Yeah.
Where the
like,
easement is, and then maybe if you pull the GIS up,
Well,
in
your application, it was the last one, so 002.
It's this one up here.
If that's still true, that's what
And
was.
so this will show the parcels specifically. You see how there's some of the red?
Mm-hmm.
That is the parcel that is being split on the very northern side.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Why is it being split like this?
This land here is part of the Hill property, and so this is we're working together with them, and so we're splitting it where the electric easement kind of comes across here.
Got it.
So this is where the easement is.
So initially, when you got the 10.28,
Mm-hmm.
it was inclusive of
Yeah,
this
maybe
portion.
this extra, maybe it was a little farther extra some of these parking spaces,
Got
where
it.
Hill family is going to keep those parking spaces.
Okay, got it. Okay. Okay, anything related to pedestrian traffic or other forms of transportation other than cars that you think that would be beneficial for us to know? For example, there's no multi-use pass required on this parcel, but I saw you kind of have some sidewalks and anticipated that there will be no walkability to this parcel long-term.
That's our understanding with the current developments surrounding our parcel to the north, to the east, and then to the south is currently residential, but also zoned industrial. And so the current zoning, the current use, it didn't necessarily seem like it lended itself to adding a sidewalk on our parcel that would then go into an industrial to the south or something like that. And so we weren't aware, that there was a requirement or that it would be frankly beneficial to many.
I think everything up on 36, 37, we are going to be requiring it as a multi-use path. That's part of our plan for the business park. But further to the south of those, we haven't really addressed that at all, which is where your parcel is.
Sure.
Okay, so let us accept a few different exhibits, and I want to do this in the right order. We did accept this. This is the most recent exhibit. We accepted this in our meeting 2 weeks ago. However, what we typically do is we do the latter taking precedence over the former. We don't want to do that this time because this is the most recent one, and we have never accepted this initial one. So what I'd like to do is, are we able to kind of start all over and just?
Yeah, you can do, much of this is at the board's preference.
Okay.
So as long as you, and we can work on the language, but I'm not worried about it. I mean, as long as it's clear, there's not going to be a legal impediment or obstacle.
I'd like to start with the information.
Can I interrupt for just a second? What I would like to get to is the application that I'm going to vote on. Okay, I understand all the information's in the file, it's all there, but I don't think I'm voting on a file. I think I want to vote on this is the plan. And that's make sure that we get to that point. That's what I want to get to.
Okay.
And I don't know how we get there exactly.
Well, I guess I'm not understanding why you don't think we are there. What they submitted recently, 2 weeks ago, if you had the chance to review it, this was their final plan that they submitted with all the supplementary information they had previously submitted. So this is the application.
Sure.
We've had 2 weeks to review it. What is missing that you do not think is in here?
Well, the fire letter,
It's in here.
those things are
That's all
not in
in
this plan. They're in the file. But the plan that we're gonna call, this is what we're voting on, that needs to contain all of that. Or do we vote on the file and then let somebody try to sort it all out later? And that's the part I don't want to get to.
No.
All
of this is the
They
file.
were in the packet provided.
Yes.
to the
Right.
So that's the first, would be the first packet.
That would be, so the file contains all exhibits. Exhibit 1 would be, which we haven't voted on yet, would be what was presented in BZC. That contains all the preliminary engineering, the letter to fire, all of that you have verified is in there. The second exhibit would be the Delaware County Regional Planning Commission minutes. The third exhibit would be the final that you guys got 2 weeks ago. And then I would say the fourth would probably end up being, if we don't already have it in here, this was the only thing I wanted to confirm, is we want the printout of the verification of advertisement as part of that file. Do we have that as part of this file?
I have it, when y'all, did y'all have a copy of this is from the websites?
Great.
Let's see that.
And so, if we have all of this documentation, then I feel that this is a complete file for us to vote on.
Let me ask you a question. If we have a problem with it, can you take that and say it's a file to a judge?
Yeah, so, and here's why I think you could
I
get,
mean, the
Yep.
plan that the
Yep.
judge will go along.
yep, because here's why I think in this instance, and I fully understand where you're at, again, not my question to make the big decisions on any
Sure.
of this, but legally, if you're asking legally, is this clear and defensible? The answer is yes. Here's why. You have multiple versions only of the development text and plan, really. Those are the only things that over time, over the BZC review and then into this review tonight, have changed, as they always do, right? As someone comes in, applicants make changes in response to the hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can differentiate those by which one is the most recent,
Mm-hmm.
which is the one dated January 23rd,
Which we've
submitted,
had time to
received
review.
January 30th.
But we got a fire letter that is based on preliminary stuff that was provided. And does that say that it's the same approval for the final plan? That's the sort of stuff that I want to make sure that we're covering and not short circuiting. That's the parts that's worrying.
That's a fair comment. So we'd be looking at the fire and essentially the fire and utilities.
There's several. There's the fire, and utilities and that sort of thing that you gotta get in there. Make sure that it works okay.
Right. So, Mr. Rodenbarger, do you know if fire or utilities have reviewed this most recent set of plans?
They have, and we have, in the electronic submission, there were 2 fire. One was from probably November, and this one is from
January 5th.
Because I get confused a little too on which meetings we attended and everything, but I believe we came in November and came in December, and then represented, or we're going to come in December, represented in January. And so the January 5th is after we redid those comments. And so nothing on the layout where the fire hydrants were changed after the development text changes from the January meeting. And so, does that?
It does. Thank you. I thought you would say that. And then, so you talked about the fire. With respect to utilities, do we only have a single set of, I think it's gas, electric, sewer, Delco, water? We only have the one initial submission from each of those utilities, correct?
I believe so. However, those utilities are not approving anything.
They're just saying they're available on that.
It will have to go through Delaware County to do anything. And so those utility approvals are subject to final engineering from Delaware County. And so they would be able to, at that time, review the most current plans and give approval letters. The letters that are even included here are maybe just saying the utilities are in the area. Some utility companies don't even, they say we don't give anything prior to final engineering other than, hey, we're in the area.
But also, nothing has substantively changed from your November plan to your current plan that would warrant a change to the utility access.
Yeah, we didn't add 100 new housing units or
things
something.
like that.
Correct. It's still the same idea of approximately 100,000 square feet of warehouse or office space that uses equivalent of 3 homes of utilities worth, whether that's sanitary. Yeah.
So to your original question, Mr. Bullard, Trustee Bullard, especially with the applicant's confirmation, I don't think we have an issue that if we don't have a February 22nd updated. Again, the point's well made. But for the reasons the applicant has said, odds are good that all those utility folks would have said, yeah, same answer, we already told you, so.
Okay. Fast forward 5 years from now, Rise has gone bankrupt, but sold the property.
Sure.
We're dealing with the new guy that owns it, okay? He says, I'm doing what the plan says. Okay, we can forget about what was said here, because the judge won't go by hearsay on that sort of stuff. So what he's gonna look at is this, which is a letter dated January 5th. We got some stuff that was after January 5th, I believe, when it was delivered to us. So whatever that plan contains, this has, the letter says, oh, my glasses on, that were forwarded for review. So anything brought in after January 5th wasn't reviewed. So we didn't take a look at it.
So, and legally, the answer to that is that all of the jurisdictions with review or approval authority, up to and including permits or, you know, whatever they need, whether that's fire, any safety services, or the utilities, or anyone else, they still retain their jurisdiction. So the letters you've received, I guess don't think of them as those entities like blessing or denial, because again, in the zoning context, you're the only ones who have say-so over zoning. That being said, each of those entities don't lose their authority and ability to review future changes, plans, etc. So they're going to do exactly that, right? When future plans and approvals come through, obviously the applicant has to come to, but all of those other agencies, they're going to have to handle that directly with them, right? Township can't override or bless or are sort of nice to have context for the three of you, and we require condemning any of those approvals. Those remain the applicant's obligation to either go get permits, go get zoning. For better or worse, you were just zoning. And so that's what we would want to be very clear about. But again, if the board wanted to move forward tonight, what you'd be doing is specifically, assuming this is the copy you like, the most recent copy, we'd be very clear about that being the controlling set of documentation for zoning, so that there was no confusion next month, next year, 20 years from now.
That's what I'm trying to make sure of.
Yeah.
We have 3 that we could make decisions on, and one of them is safety, and fire would fall in the safety category, and so that's a pretty important item for me. You know, traffic is not something we can make a decision on, but safety of the traffic is something.
To a degree,
so
certainly.
Those are the things that, and to make sure that that's documented correctly.
Please support that.
And I understand that there's a whole bunch of things that we can't decide. You know, it's one of which was moral.
How long you got?
Yeah, you understand.
Yep, I do.
That's what I was trying to.
and I don't think that anything has substantively changed within the plan that was submitted in November and the plan that we received in February that would warrant to the applicant's point on this, which I rarely agree with the applicants on.
Sure.
You know, fire hydrant, you know, turn radius trucks, fire truck, none of that has changed from the original application submitted. And so I would see that there would be no reason for us to be concerned with getting a third fire letter approving what the 2 have already approved.
I understand.
That's just my own opinion on it. What are these documents that are sitting in front of us this evening? This one?
Oh, that's the approval, that's the motion the BZC used to recommend approval with modifications.
Okay, and that wasn't in this packet?
No,
And then
probably not.
this one,
That I brought up.
this one you brought up, okay,
You
thank
can
you.
take this.
And then this has nothing to do with this, okay.
Nothing to do with it.
Okay, so,
This one was my file that I brought that I didn't make any notes in, so it's clean one.
okay, can I use it for the exhibit?
But you
Okay.
gotta add these back into it. That goes into it.
Wait a minute. This looks exactly the same as this. One says your name on it.
This is at the top, that is the top, so those are different ones. And then this, we need to make sure it's in.
The one would maybe be the
This one has
conditional approval,
23rd
the landscaping
and that was requested.
Okay.
And
This
to
is a
answer
file.
your question, I'm not concerned with anything I've come across. It's just that I want to make sure that it's a complete set.
And I can appreciate that. And I think if I thought that it was the applicant's issue, I would be more inclined to, have them go back and fix it. But I do believe that they've made a good faith effort to provide the information to us that we have, and that we don't have it in our usual presentation is a little bit on us as well. So I'm trying to find a middle ground of not having the applicant be delayed because maybe there were miscommunications on our part. Maybe there weren't, but I just want to give the benefit of the doubt.
I just want the file that we're going to go back.
And this looks like a kind of beautiful, messy file right here. So I just want to make sure I get this order right, because Jen, to your point, I would do latter exhibits taking precedence over former exhibits. So I have the BZC application, then I have the RPC minutes, but I should have this RPC minutes before the BZC application.
Those aren't in the packet with the other utility
Let me double
letters.
check, because
Only because I know they're in the version that's on your
Okay.
website, but that doesn't really.
maybe that.
Also, Trustee Rail, would it help you to just modify, I know your process is set the way you have the exhibits and the precedence over the former, but would it help you in this instance to say that the later dated?
Yeah.
Right.
And then my only issue with counting them all as one exhibit is that I want to be clear about what was supposed to be included in the file later. Like, for example, this advertisement, I would want to call it out because they say that has to be part of that final file. But does it matter really if it's all in there?
Not really, and probably a conversation for this piece of it, my piece of it, another day, not in the middle of your meeting.
Yeah.
But we could streamline this process. I would take the position that documents in the township's file submitted to and kept as part of a rezoning application, physical or electronic, just are your file.
Yeah.
So
I
don't worry about
separate the
pieces.
exhibits and
We can,
But, and then how would we bring it forward then if we wanted this? We would just say, this pile of paper we accept as an exhibit.
you could say copies of versions of, however you want to, whatever items you want to call out. Copies of application materials, development plans and texts, including exhibits and supplements, are part of and considered incorporated into the township's file regarding case BZC 25-004.
Okay. Okay. I didn't see the RPC meeting minutes in here.
Okay.
Just so
That's
you
my
know.
mistake.
So I'll just keep your copy. And then we'll accept this as an exhibit first. And then we have a resolution potentially. Do we want to print that resolution, or do you want to?
Why don't I read what I have and then we can print?
Okay. As a formality, given that there's no attendance here, I do need to open it up for those in favor of, hearing none, those against, hearing none, closing public comment. Were there any other items that the board would like to ensure are on the record before we proceed with this administrative aspect of accepting these documents?
I have none.
Okay. Can you, are you good with this? Okay. Okay, move to accept, various documents related to RISE, BZC case 25-004 as, Exhibit 1 in this file, with those documents dated later taking precedence over those documents dated former. So moved.
Second.
Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Bullard. And just as a point of discussion to note for the conversation, this includes recent application information dated January 23rd, 2026, BZC approval, BZC meeting minutes, a updated version of the report of the application that includes the landscaping, the proper advertisement and notice, a letter from fire dated as recent as January 5th, the DC RPC Commission approvals with the addition provided, as well as the file provided to the Berlin Zoning Commission for consideration. Further discussion.
Does all of that need to be in the minutes?
It should probably be a point of discussion, just that it includes them. I actually don't, the meeting minutes are, the official meeting minutes are the record, so it doesn't need to be in the written meeting minutes.
Can I make a suggestion? How about if you two sit down, take a 10-minute break or whatever it is, sit down, take a file, create a file, and that's what we'll go. Take all of this stuff.
I don't feel like there's a need for this. I have a motion on the table, and I think we have the documents we need. There's nothing that 10 more minutes is going to get us, and I do have a hard stop at 6:30.
Okay. Okay.
What do you think that would accomplish that we don't have here?
All it accomplishes is you take that file right there and we give it to the zoning department and say, hey, this is what we got planned. Okay, that's it. It's up to whoever takes that file to decipher it and decide what there actually is in the file. And what gives us the file that we give to someone. There's no discussion about, is this included or is this not included?
For what it's worth, it all constitutes the township's legal case file for this application. The only thing that's taken out any duplicates.
And as often as we see change, it's been a
I
battle.
don't know if that's something it can be.
Of this,
I see.
all of these
Okay.
documents.
I support it. I think it's a good idea. I think it's all right. And I think it's something else the industry can work with in a complete tool.
Yeah, we have sure that this all stays in place. That's why I called out very specifically what should be in this file, which doesn't be in the written meeting minutes, but will persist in our audio minutes if there's any further clarification. So I'm comfortable moving forward at this time. Any further discussion though?
That's it.
I'm comfortable with moving forward.
Okay. Please call roll.
Trustee Sutton?
Yes.
Trustee Bullard?
No.
Trustee Rail?
Yes. Okay, so we have an exhibit and we have all of the various components, and we have those dated later taking precedence over the former. And so now we are prepared to consider the resolution itself. Ms. Huber, do you want to read what is to be before the board for consideration as a resolution?
Yes, and I can read it from the top, the top really is some general information about the application itself, or what I often do is read the proposed modifications for the board's consideration.
For the benefit of the board, why don't you read the top as well?
Happy to do it.
I know it's the same as the last time we did it, but.
No problem. So the resolution is titled Resolution to Amend the Zoning Resolution of Berlin Township, Delaware County, Ohio. In parentheses, Hill Family Enterprises LTD and Rise Galena LLC. Zoning case number BZC 25-004. Whereas case number BZC 25-004 is before this Board of Trustees, the board, upon the application filed by Ryland Engineering, 5645 Castle Creek Parkway North Drive, Indianapolis, Indiana 46250, for 10.28 plus or minus acres, consisting of the following property. And just for ease, I won't read the 5 parcel numbers, but the 5 parcel numbers. Collectively, the property owned by Hill Enterprises LTD. This application requests to rezone the property from Neighborhood Commercial District NCD to Planned Commercial and Office District PCD, and requests certain divergences. And whereas following, I list the public hearing dates from the Zoning Commission, And whereas the application has since been modified by the applicant to reflect an updated total of 8.86 plus or minus acres, and an additional divergence is being requested in connection with this reduced acreage under the 10-acre required minimum tract size. And whereas public hearing before the board has been noticed and conducted today, be it resolved by the board that the board adopts the recommendation of the Zoning Commission on case number BZC 25004 of approval with modifications, including requested divergences, with the following additional modifications. These are the results of tonight's conversation. A, various revisions reflected in the updated documents submitted and dated January 30th, 2026, including materials and exhibits. So I know that the top says 23, the township, I'm using the township stamp. B, any loading, storage, and stoppage of trucks, whether box, semi, or otherwise, shall only take place on the property, not on any road right-of-way, so as not to inhibit or obstruct traffic on the road, including but not limited to 3Bs and K Road and the entrance to the property.
That's right.
C, this is from your noise, it's modified slightly but captures the spirit. During the quiet hour period of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. every day of the week, there shall be no making of any noise or sound from or in connection with the property, which by reason of volume, pitch, frequency, intensity, duration, or nature, annoys or disturbs the comfort, peace, or health of a person of ordinary sensibilities. The noise or sound must be clearly heard by a person using normal hearing faculties or ordinary auditory senses, not enhanced by any mechanical device, such as a hearing amplification device or hearing aid, at a distance of 100 feet or more from the property from which the noise emanates.
Is that good?
Is there a point of clarification, just to make sure we're understanding, that after the 10 p.m., the certain noise level is a decibel level, or maybe just a clarification point on what that sound is if someone was, pulled up in their truck and
A horn on the truck.
It has to be unreasonably annoying or disturbing.
kind of in the public
It can't
nuisance,
be any noise whatsoever. Right, that's correct.
more towards the public nuisance stage.
That's right. So like audible at a distance of 100 feet from the property and annoying or disturbing.
And that is in the spirit of our noise resolution.
It's the language from your resolution.
But it'd be like, and I think it specifically calls out, like, if a truck is honking the horn persistently after
Sure.
10 p.m.
Yeah.
Right?
That someone would, notify some.
They could call the sheriff would have to enforce it.
Okay.
In this instance, this would be a zoning violation, handled a little bit differently,
potentially.
but under your regular noise resolution, that's how
So that seems reasonable, unless I just wanted to make sure, again, clarifying if there was any ambiguity of kind of what that meant. Just to be clear that, sometimes people do come earlier or later, that we want to ensure that they can unload something or do something, but it sounds like more towards the public nuisance.
Yeah,
it's fair to say.
correct.
And then the last section simply says that formal actions were taken in open meetings. The catch-all at the end, or the boilerplate at the end that we say we followed 121.22.
Those are all good to me. And you're okay with them?
Mm-hmm.
And then it said the zoning commission's recommendations. This one had number 4 written here, so I just want to make certain that we are acknowledging that these were the recommendations and that we're not replacing them.
Correct.
Okay.
The resolution is worded in a way that the board's modifications are in addition to the
Not
commission's
any
recommendations.
replacements are. Okay.
They're also, the commission's recommendations were already incorporated by the applicant
Good.
into this.
Okay, phenomenal. Okay, what's the applicant's desire for this evening? Would you like to hold off on the vote, or would you like to proceed at this time?
We'd love to proceed.
Okay. What resolution number would we be talking
Would be on
about?
79, that one would be 79, 26-79.
Okay. Move to approve resolution 26-79, approval of BZC case 25-004 with all the language written as to form of the resolution included there. therein.
Second.
Moved by the chair.
I'm sorry.
Never mind. Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Sutton. Discussion. I think overall this is a good plan, and I think there's a lot of good potential for businesses. I hope you'll continue to work with us and, getting the necessary documentation, and we'll make certain to provide a copy, assuming that this moves forward this evening. But good job incorporating the feedback provided thus far. Any further discussion? Okay, please call roll.
Trustee Rayo?
Yes.
Trustee Bullard?
Lincoln. I like the plan, but I don't like the form that we got it in. For that, I'll say no.
Trustee Sutton?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you for your time this evening. For this pile, should I give this to the fiscal officer or the administrator to follow up? You're the official keeper of records, right? But we do want to make certain that we get a electronic version of this created and stored in our zoning review folder, so that we at least can persist all this in the. And then do we need to sign a copy of the resolution too? Okay. Okay. Let's go through very quickly. We'll wait for just a moment and then close the hearing.
Jen, what's your last name?
It's Huber, H-U-B-E-R. All good. Anonymous until I don't have to be. Okay.
I move to adjourn hearing for case PZC 25-004.
Second.
Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Bowler. Please call roll.
Trustee Bullard?
Yes.
Trustee Sutton?
Yes.
Trustee Rayo?
Yes, thank you. And now we'll resume with our special meeting agenda for this evening. The next item on the agenda is to discuss, consider, and take action on position vacancies. Is there an update for this, Administrator Hale?
So this item is on because the board has in the past declared vacancies for positions when we receive resignations, and then we need to post. However, in consultation with our legal counsel, that is not a practice he often sees, and it's not legally something that we need to do. And so understanding from the board that unless the board provides direction that we're holding off on filling a vacancy, that when a letter of resignation is tendered and the board accepts it, that would authorize the administrator and or our HR coordinator to then post for that vacancy. Because otherwise, with going to monthly meetings, it causes significant delays in being able to get things out if the position is not declared vacant.
That's great. So it sounds like really no action. The only item that I would want to make certain we have appropriated funding for posting of positions. Do we need to appropriate any more funding for you?
If we could do a blanket for duration of the year, because when considering if we could maybe do $5,000, that would cover. We could do Indeed, the various professional associations. So I think if the fiscal officer is amenable to that, we'll do.
Will that work for you?
Yep.
Okay, move to approve a blanket requisition in the amount of $5,000 for the purposes of posting various positions that have opened in the township, and authorize Administrator Hale to execute all associated documents and funding for therein.
Second.
Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Bowler. Discussion. Please call roll.
Trustee Bullard?
Yes.
Trustee Rayo?
Yes.
Trustee Sutton?
Yes.
And maybe we should add that as something to our organizational meeting, just to have as a, add $5,000 or replenish the fund on an annual basis. Miscellaneous purchase orders.
Well, wait, do we need to declare the road superintendent or anybody as a vacant position?
According to Dave, we do not.
Okay, then we're fine.
Once we accepted the resignation, it was essentially a declaration of vacancy.
Okay, gotcha.
Miscellaneous purchase orders.
You have them in front of you, as well as the detail. So this I took directly from the county commissioners, meetings, and starting to work us more towards the consent agenda. We're gonna just step through it and do the first part, which is here are the POs, no then and nows, POs and blanket orders. I'm gonna type it here. For that we are requesting. The first three are for cemetery. The next one is just admin for business cards, then fire, one that's split between three different costing, one for equipment, one for repairs and maintenance, and one for I think supplies. SHI is for our conversion with the county. There's Microsoft licenses. ClearPoint is just allowing us to have money on hand to pay them as they need to come in and do things. Revise is for the CMS annual software subscription. The Architects is for our design of the vestibule here. Stanley Steamer is for ductwork cleaning. A blanket for travel and eating expense, since we just had OTA, making sure we can pay all those OTA bills or expenses that are coming in. And then we want to just get something on the books for Delaware County IT support as we continue to go through the transition.
Okay.
Is it one or is it individual purchase
It's
order?
one resolution for all of these individual purchase orders. And a copy of all the purchase orders are attached.
Gotcha. How do you want it worded?
What resolution are we on?
It would be 80, and you would read exactly what's.
Yeah, move to approve resolution 26.80 or /80-80 in the matter of approving purchase orders, then announce certificates and blankets, included herein.
Second.
Moved by the chair, seconded by trustee Bowler. Discussion, and the notes are going to be included in the resolution that are provided in the meeting minutes, right?
The notes.
This.
Yes, this will say 30 minutes.
This is
Yep.
the full resolution.
Exactly, it's all in there.
These are the copies of,
Yeah.
Yep.
okay.
Okay,
Further discussion? Please call roll.
trustee Rail,
Yes.
trustee Sutton,
Yes.
trustee Bowler.
Yes.
For the one that I put for discussion on there, I pulled that out. You don't need to necessarily do anything with this today. I was thinking maybe we would go ahead and do a PO today, but I'm gonna hold it till a March meeting. This is for COVID funds or ARPA funds. They think that we used more than, or we didn't use it all. Paula and I were working that today, and Paula found the $1,651.64 in our records that it has been spent, so something didn't go right in the previous reporting.
Okay.
So I did send in a reconsideration request to the U.S. Treasury today on this. So just a heads up, I gave you what was a copy of what was on their website for your reading. And I did update former trustee Ken O'Brien as he was copied on the mailing that we got. So it was in his name. So I'm trying to get that
We'll
fixed.
take it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I did just want to note, if you guys don't mind me jumping to newsletter, I asked that item be added because we would need to get our newsletter articles to Administrator Hale before the next meeting. I've sent the information to you, so if you want to update the board, that would be great.
Please send them to Cindy.
Send them to Cindy,
Yes,
sorry.
she is coordinating, and so she should be in contact with you about that.
Fantastic, and I will yield the floor to the vice chair at this time, and appreciate your time this evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, what we'll do next is the executive session on personnel matters.
Yes, I
I
would
believe-
request the board consider recessing into executive session. I can get the language for you.
Pursuant to ORC 121.22G1.
For the purposes of employee compensation.
Employee compensation.
I would like to make a motion to go to executive session for personnel matters per Ohio law revised code section. And then I'll let you put the word in for that. Is that okay?
is G1 still employee
That's right,
compensation?
yes.
Okay, should I just put compensation or personnel matters?
So I would say to consider,
Compensation of a public employee.
yeah,
Thank you.
So moved.
Second?
That works, everybody? Okay, good.
Okay,
Discussion, please call the roll.
trustee Rayo, trustee Sutton,
Yes.
trustee Bullard.
Yes. We are in executive session at this point.
Yeah. Who are you
So we
inviting
need to
in?
turn this off.
Who are you inviting in?
Pardon?
Who are you?
Oh, everybody here. Okay. We're back out of executive session. I'd like to make a motion that we return to normal meeting from executive meeting. So moved.
Second?
Second, discussion, call roll, please.
Trustee Sutton,
Yes.
trustee Bowler.
Yes. Okay, we're back in normal session, and we had an executive session, no actions were taken, and no decisions were made. Moving on with the agenda, we have nothing for item 8 on the agenda, no items there for action. Number 9 is newsletter,
We have already covered that.
and we've covered that one, so it's time to adjourn. Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second?
Call roll, please.
Trustee Bowler,
Yes?
trustee Sutton.
Yes.